Hi betting experts, on Saturday, May the 25th, one of the busiest weekends of racing, 10 races covered on ITV, the Irish 2000 Guineas, Haydock, Goodwood and York, all featuring on an absolutely action-packed day. The ground, well, it's obviously eased. We had a lot of rain midweek, although the forecast of the weekend does look a bit better. Likely to be pretty testing at Haydock. Goodwood on the softer side, York a similar story and probably quite testing at the Curragh, I would imagine. We start off with our betting expert Daily Nap, sponsored by Bet365. This goes in the 150 at Haydock, the Temple, a Group 2 5 furlong sprint, and I'm strong here on Rogue Lightning from the excellent Tom Clover yard. Now he is very much the star of the yard. He's won 4 of his 8 career starts so far on the turf. I think he's a sprinter to follow this summer in what could be a very weak division. Looking at some of the horses, he's a strong traveller with a smart turn of foot when the cards fall right, and this flat track with some cut in the ground would be his absolute optimum conditions with James Doyle, an eye-catching booking. Our betting expert value angle selection, sponsored by Bet365, goes in the 3 o'clock at Haydock. The new Boston handicap over 7 furlongs, and I like Sterling Knight here from the Ed Dunlop yard. Now there's 2 big positives to his chance. The first thing is the form of the yard. They've had 4 winners in the last fortnight at a 17% strike rate, and I think the second thing is the rain that's fallen at Haydock. They did water early in the week and it's then poured with rain, and it's going to be pretty testing, I think, and that suits Sterling Knight. If you watch his seasonal reappearance back under today's excellent claimer Morgan Cole, he ran an absolute blinder in the William Hill Lincoln at Doncaster in April, and I think last time he probably found the run coming too soon just a week afterwards at Newmarket on faster ground. The rain's come right, everything's in his favour. I think he's a well handicapped horse who's bound to go close with any luck in running. The remaining 8 races on ITV on Saturday, we'll spin through them in time order. Haydock the 115, a handicap over a mile, where Sir Les Patterson comes from another yard I really like, Harry Eustace, and he's made a terrific start to his training career in his own right since taking over from James. This improving 3-year-old is fancied to make a winning switch to the turf at Haydock. He comes into this after landing hefty market confidence at Kempton in April on the all-weather. I thought that was a good performance, better than the bare margin. He didn't settle for the first half of that race and ran around in front. He's still green, but Murphy's booked this time. I think soft ground should be no bother at all. He should go well with fitness on his side. Over to Goodwood for the 130, a handicap over 7 furlongs. Well, Quirat comes from the Rafe Beckett yard that's warming up now after a slow start. He ran to a useful level in 3 runs as a juvenile last season. I think his opening handicap mark underestimates him. With the ground soft, well, that won't be an issue. He ran an absolute blinder when second at Salisbury in October, having been back down to odds-on favouritism. Back to Goodwood for the Height of Fashion Stakes at 205, a listed contest over 1 mile 2. A bit of a minefield here, some very promising fillies. Beeley is definitely one of them. She looks smart when making a promising seasonal debut at Sandown in April at a time when the Gosdens were all needing a run first time out, but running really well. I think you can excuse her latest effort at Chester. Never difficult to overlook a bad run there. This does represent a big jump up in class, but there's bound to come more to come as her stamina's drawn out over middle distances this summer. Over to Haydock for the 225, the Sandy Lane, a Group 2 over 6 furlongs. Well, Van Dijk is a very exciting prospect. He was really impressive in the 2-year-old campaign, unbeaten there, landing hefty market confidence, thought to be the best horse that Simon and Ed Crisford had in their care. I don't think really testing ground will be any issue at all judged on last season's form, and there's plenty more to come from him with James Doyle booked for the ride. To York for the 245, one of their impossible 5 furlong handicaps. Perhaps watch the early race or two to see if there's any draw bias, but Starlust at least comes into this contest fit and well after a promising effort at Ascot in his first run back from Meydan. I think he'll go well. I like the fact that he ran really well at this track over 6 furlongs last season when a bit of an unlucky loser second in a huge field there. They'll go a mad gallop, so the drop back to 5 shouldn't be any issue. Staying at York for the 320, the Bronte Cup, a Group 3 over 1 mile 6. Well, this looks trappy as well. Ermisind comes from a yard I really like, Kevin Philippart de Foy, and I thought this unexposed performer looked sure to go well here in the circumstances. She ran quite well until getting tired on very heavy ground at Longchamp on her seasonal reappearance, and conditions are likely to be a lot better here. Back to Haydock for the 330, a handicap over 7 furlong. Divine Comedy, I thought, shaped really nicely on his seasonal reappearance last month. Should sharpen up fitness-wise nice with that run under his belt. He's won 4 from 13 on the turf, and Kea Fraser is a very promising £5 claiming rider to keep an eye on, booked for the ride. Finally, over to the Curragh for their big race, the Irish 2000 Guineas, a Group 1. Well, River Tiber's always looked a horse who's going to improve as a 3-year-old. He's a strapping colt. He won 3 of his 5 starts as a juvenile, including when landing the heavy mob's money in the Coventry at Royal Ascot. I'm sure he'll be fully wound up after 238 days off. A lot of Aidens have been needing the run, but I think on these big Saturdays they're usually fully fit, and I think River Tiber will relish this mile trip. Best of luck with all 10 ITV races on Saturday, betting experts.